Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this video. What's the internet? The internet is a global network of billions of computers and other electronic devices. With the internet, it's possible to access almost any information, communicate with anyone else in the world, and do much more, almost instantaneously. The World Wide Web, usually called the web for short, is a collection of different websites you can access through the internet. A website is made up of text, images, code, and other resources that are displayed in a web browser. What is a web browser? A web browser is an application or program used to access, display, and interact with web pages on the internet. Most common examples are Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, Apple Safari. If you have an iPhone, you probably use Safari. Opera, Brave, Vivaldi, DuckDuckGo is another one, and there's probably 100 more or so out there. On your computer, here we are in Windows, you have a default browser. Normally, Microsoft Edge is your default browser on a fresh installed Windows. However, you can install other browsers. Let's open up Google Chrome. And there we go. There's Google Chrome. This is a typical web browser. It's got a window. You can either maximize the window and have it fill up your entire screen, or you can have it like a regular window that you can move around and do other things with. I prefer it this way. That way I can see a little bit of my desktop here. At the top of the browser, you've got a tab bar. This is the top. It's also called a title bar. That's where like the title of a web page will show up. Right below that, this area is called an address bar. Okay, that's where you type the web address that you want to go to, like apple.com. There it is. Right below the address bar, it's normally hidden, and you can't see it, but there's a bookmarks bar. Bookmarks are pretty handy browsing the internet. If you go under here in these three little dots in Google Chrome, click on it, menu pops up, there's bookmarks, and you can show the bookmarks bar. When you go to a website, if you want to save that website or any other page on that website, all you have to do is right over here where this little lock symbol is. If you hover over it, it highlights. Just left click on that and drag it to your bookmarks bar. And then you'll see this little black line appear. That shows you that wherever you drop that bookmark, wherever you let go, that bookmark is going to stay there. So I let it go, and now I have a bookmark there. So if I go back to another page on that website, and I want to go back to the page I bookmarked, all I have to do is click this. I don't have to type anything here anymore. And you can bookmark web pages, websites, a login page in the web browser at the top in the tab bar. This plus button lets you make another tab. That lets you go to another website. So you can have two websites open. You can have this one and that one open at the same time. You can have as many tabs open as you want. However, the more tabs you have open, the more resources get used on your computer. It can slow things down for you. Tab groups. You can group tabs. If you have a bunch of tabs open, but if they're all related and your tab bar is getting a little cluttered, you can right click on any tab and tell it add tab to new group. If you add tab to a new group, you can name it, and we'll call this Microsoft. All right, now we got a Microsoft tab. So this tab, if you see now, there's a gray line here. And you can change that. Just right click on it, pick whatever color you want. So now we have this tab, and it's got a line around it saying that it belongs to that group. These tabs don't belong to that group, but if you want to add them to the group, just right click on the tab and say add to group. And you can either make a new group or you can add it to the Microsoft group. So we'll add this one to the Microsoft group. And this one we'll add to the Microsoft group. And then this one over here, we'll add this to a new group and we'll call it Apple. Now we've got the apple. So we're going to make the apple green. Now this tab, if you add it to new group, Apple, it'll slide on over and become part of the Apple group. Pretty cool. Now if you click on the group name, it'll collapse all those tabs into the group. If you click on it again, it'll open those tabs back up. If you click on the Microsoft group, it'll close all the tabs. Now I can make some more tabs. And I've still got all these other tabs open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the same time. Like I said, you can have as many open as you need. Searching the internet. There's 2 ways you can do it. Normally in Google Chrome, you got this start page that comes up and it takes you right to Google. You can search here or you can search here up in the address bar. Yeah, it says search Google or type a URL. Now Google is set as the default search engine. And if you want to use a different one, like Bing or DuckDuckGo or Yahoo, go to the upper right, click on settings, and go down here to settings. And when you click on settings, on the left hand side are all the settings for your browser. A little bit the ways down, you have default browser. That's how you set your default browser. There's search engine right above that. If you go here, search engine used in the address bar. Right now it's Google. If you want to change that, Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, Ecosia, whichever one you want to use. I'll leave this at Google. So we'll close the setting window for now. So if you want to search for something, all you have to do is just type up here in the address bar and it'll search for something. You could also type here once you're at Google to refine your search. That's commonly what I do because it's right there instead of going all the way up to the address bar. But either way you want to do it. A lot of results. Shopping. So that's the results that we're showing. Now the search results, usually at the top they've got a bunch of things. You can search for shopping or images. This is ways to refine your search. You've also got this tools over here. This lets you pick what time. Like if you just want to see things about Apple laptops for the past month, you can click there and it'll refine the search for anything within the past month. You can clear that and it goes back to whatever normal search turned up. Search results. Google will put some new stuff and add stuff up here. And then they'll have some common questions. And then below this, you start getting into your actual search results. And the ones at the top are normally advertisements. You can see there for apple.com. Then you run across some YouTube videos and some more apple.com. And then here we go to another website. Best Buy. Mainly if you just want to shop for one. That's a real basic overview of searching on the internet and using a web browser. Keyboard shortcuts while you're browsing the internet. Every time you go to a different web page, your web browser is going to remember, like a trail of breadcrumbs, what web pages you went to in that tab. So if you go to a few web pages, and I'm just clicking on random ones here. Now we've got a little bit of history. On your keyboard, if you hold down the Alt key, in the lower left you can see what key I'm holding down. If you hold down the Alt key and hit the left arrow, it will go back one page in your history. If you do it again, it'll go back. It'll go back. If you use the right arrow key while you're holding down Alt, it will go forward through your history until it reaches the current web page that you're at. You can also scroll the web page by using your mouse wheel up and down. You can also use the up and down arrows to move up and down a web page. If you're at the bottom of a web page and you want to quickly get back to the top, hit the home key on your keyboard. It's normally above the arrow keys. If you hit home, it'll take you to the top of the web page. If you hit the end key on your keyboard, it will take you to the very bottom of the web page. And then once again, home will take you back up to the very top. Page down will scroll down the web page as well. Page up will also scroll up. If you're loading a web page and it has some kind of issue, you could stop it from loading by hitting the escape key, and that'll stop the browser from loading that web page. Other keyboard shortcuts in a web browser are F5 to refresh a web page, and that basically just reloads the web page. So if you hit F5, you can see up here it'll turn into a little circle timer as it reloads the web page. Your web browser has what's called a cache, and when you go to a web page, it will take things like the menu and common icons and download them to your computer and save it in a folder. And whenever you go back to that web page, instead of your web browser having to reload all that, it will load what it saves in the cache for that page. If you want to reload the page and clear the cache, the best way to do that is hold down the Control key and hit F5 at the same time. And that'll reload the web page and reload every element on the web page. Spacebar is another button that will move down. And Shift Spacebar will move back up. So there's 3 different ways to go up and down a web page. You have the Shift Spacebar and Spacebar, and then you have mouse wheel, and you've got the arrow keys on the keyboard, and you've got page up. Up in the top in the tabs, if you're in one tab and you want to go to the next tab, all you have to do is hit Control Tab, and it will go from left to right through the tabs. If you hold down Shift and Control, you can go back left through the tabs. And that's without clicking on anything with the mouse. That's just keyboard shortcuts. Control T will open a new tab. Well, thanks for watching the video. I hope you learned something, and we'll see y'all in the next one.